Good morning, afternoon, and night. I'm Ethan Shaver, and I'm going to be going over attention with you. So now that we got the definition of focus pulled up, uh, focus is a center of interest or activity. And as we can see here, according to the 2D diagram, there's a couple different dimensions of focus: broad and narrow. So however many points you have, in there. So like if you got broad, you're gonna have more points of interest in narrow. Internal, external focus. So internal focus, your little thoughts inside your head, all your processing power of what you've got. So if you saw something earlier and you think it applies to a certain situation, that'd be more internal. You know what I mean? External focus, you're focusing on everything in front of you. So like I have a narrow external focus right now where I'm focusing on the camera, and I'm looking at what I'm reading as well. So the narrow and external focuses, broad, narrow, internal, external focuses, so there's different ranges for what you're doing. So like if you're doing a really highly technical skill that you've got down, it would be more of the narrow external focus here, because you got less data points, you've done it a million times, you're not focusing on a ton of things, and you're just focusing on what's happening in front of you. So assess would be broad external, so that you're assessing the entire situation. You got everything going. You're taking in everything. You're make sure you're taking as many data points as possible outside of your head. Analyze and plan. So you've already taken that data in, and now you got to focus on analyzing and using that data to formulate whatever plan you're planning on doing. Internal and narrow ranges, it's mental rehearse. It was kind of weird in the book. So it's more like you're visualizing something in your head. So like if you're like watching film and you're putting yourself in that position, or if you're you're like laying there in bed visualizing the movement or the technique, or visualizing yourself on the field. So now that we've kind of gone over the different ranges of focus, we're gonna focus on developing the skills in order to maintain an external focus. So if you are going to be training someone who's new and you want them to be really good at something, you want to train those skills, right? But you don't really necessarily think of the automaticity of performing that skill. So being able to focus on external things and having fewer data points, hence the focus and perform, having a narrow and external focus. So what that means is you have fewer data points, and you're taking in everything that's out there. You're just responding to as few data points as possible, so you can have your decision making fast. So in order to do that, you have to have the skill automaticity, as I just said. The skill automaticity means that you have that skill down. You can do it without thinking. You're just going. You're going. So in martial arts, or in Japanese actually, it's called mushin, or a state of no mind. So you are completely blanked out internally, but you're taking in everything and acting. So you're not internally focused at all. You're very external. Your body's responding to that narrow range of data points and making those quick decisions. So automaticity through overlearning is what we just went over, and so essentially being able to learn a skill to 100% recollection every time, so you can just go right away. You don't have to think about it. You got it down. And so what I like to do to get my guys ready for their fights is I actually like to do a little mind game to get them focused. So I'll play, so we'll start doing mitt work, but I won't be calling out anything. So if I was gonna have them throw a 1-2, I wouldn't say 1-2 and then hold my hands up. I would just there, and they do the 1-2, boom, 3, 4, and then just kind of work in this reactive pad works, which gets them focused on what's happening in front of them. They got very few data points. It's right there. And then I'll throw in some things to get them to slip, roll, etc. I'm actually training my brother right now, which is interesting task because we kind of grew up with each other. We hated each other, but doing those drills in his 8th lesson, I want to say, he was getting that kind of reactive pad work down really quickly, which is incredibly fast, but it's still not 100% recollection yet. He'll still going through the process of overlearning. So doing those reactive drills for other sports would also be very important for sports such as like MMA, football, just something that really requires a lot of reaction.